Moral systems make the conscious contact with the soul an impossible thing. One of the greatest secrets of my personal and professional success is that I dedicated myself to overcoming morals for the last 21 years. As a consequence, I continuously hear people saying that I stand for immorality. That allegation has nothing to do with me. That's pure ignorance. At the end of this video, you will be able to see that in order to be a human being, you can't abide by moral systems. Moral systems are inhuman. I'm Cavalher. First of all, moral systems are a 3D structure. Therefore, in 3D, following moral rules is extremely healthy. Following moral rules is indispensable for developing the ego, and the 3D's goal is to develop a strong ego. Moreover, it is impossible to complete the third dimension without accomplishing a moral behavior close to perfection. So, if you are a 3D person, you should achieve the highest moral development possible in order to have a strong ego. Otherwise, you will be stuck in 3D forever. But that's about it. Moral systems are 3D ego-only structures, nothing more. Following a moral system will never be following the soul. Much to the contrary, moral systems block the access to the soul. That's why Carl Jung teaches in his Jungian psychology that the first encounter with the soul happens through a moral defeat. A moral defeat is what happens when you realize that these moral rules you stand for is of no importance to the soul whatsoever. In the fourth dimension, your moral system will be continuously challenged until it is completely overcome. Let me tell you a secret. Mankind is stuck in time. Christ was a great master of the conscious relationship with the soul. The relationship with the soul is the center and the goal of the fourth dimension. Pay attention to the symbol. Christ was crucified on a cross. Crosses point to 4 directions. Therefore, a great master came more than 2,000 years ago to teach mankind about the 4D. However, mankind is still 3D and ego-based. As a matter of fact, when I see this increasing moralism in our society, people actually liking the authoritarian governments around the world, wanting these governments to tell them what to do, like fathers do with small children. When I see people trying to control other people instead of developing themselves, when I see prejudice growing faster than the development of spiritual love, when I see people talking about flat earth, I come to the conclusion that mankind is going through a regression. Instead of learning with Christ and moving to 4D, mankind is choosing to go back to 2D. To be honest, a very underdeveloped 2D. Jesus, if I were you, I would not come back to earth. You run the risk of being crucified once more. When I speak about the need of overcoming morals in order to move to the fourth dimension and to be in a conscious contact with the soul, people accuse me of standing for immorality. So let me be really straightforward. I do not stand for immorality. Immorality is the natural structure of the first dimension. Immorality is what there is prior to the formation of the human consciousness. Consciousness arises at the entrance of the second dimension. There is no human consciousness without moral development. There is no society without moral development. I work non-stop to help people to move forward into the fourth and the fifth dimensions, not backwards. But I understand those who argue that since I do not abide by moral systems, I stand for immorality. The second and the third dimensions are based on duality. In these dimensions, everything is opposition. 2D and 3D people can think only in terms of opposition. They do not have enough dimensions to understand that morality and immorality are not the only existing options in this infinite universe we all live in. They lack the capacity to access ethics. Overcoming morals moves you towards ethics. Ethics is way more complex than morals because it has an extra dimension. It is 4D. Following moral systems is doing things by the book. Morality is doing things always the same way, ignoring the immense differences among the many situations that combine, ignoring the immense differences among people, ignoring that you yourself change throughout time. Doing things by the book is easy. You don't have to think. Moralistic people do not think. Thinking is hard. Ethics means taking into account the huge differences among the life situations that come by. Ethics means taking into account the huge differences among people. Ethics means taking into account the huge differences that emerge in yourself as time goes by. Ethics is understanding that love, true love, spiritual love, is way more important than following the rules. Ethics is above all fulfilling the soul's will, not yours. Moral systems always allow some things and forbids others. The soul is the wholeness, the sum of everything there is, including all that moral systems allow, but also all that moral systems forbid. Therefore, following moral systems makes following the soul an impossible thing. When the soul's will goes along with morals, no conflict arises. But when the soul's will goes against moral rules, we are forced to go through the immense ethical conflicts that arise when we put the soul's will into practice in our actions, because these specific actions clash with the established moral rules. A lot of people are outraged when they realize that the soul is not worried with morals nor limited by moral rules. Instead of being outraged with what they do not comprehend, they should look at the results of overcoming morals. Those who are stuck to 3D moral systems strongly judge other people, no matter how much they deny that. If there are forbidden things, bad things, those who do these forbidden and bad things will obviously be considered somehow inferior. Therefore, 3D people will inevitably consider themselves superior to other people and spread prejudice. 3D people, even the most developed 3D people, can at most tolerate those who live lifestyles considered to be forbidden. They cannot truly love. Morals vetoes the access to spiritual love. Morals are inhuman. If you want to reach spiritual love, you need to go through a 4D process and overcome within yourself all the moral prohibitions. You have to understand that everything, no matter how wrong it may seem, no matter how forbidden it may seem, has its place in the cosmos. When you don't understand something, it seems to be wrong and forbidden, but your ignorance does not determine the laws of the cosmos. When you overcome within yourself the moral prohibitions, you will see that nothing is inferior. Therefore, when you meet someone who has lifestyles considered to be morally inferior, you are not outraged. You don't need to tolerate anything because nothing is considered to be morally wrong or inferior in the fourth dimension. Everything seems quite natural. All that exists in yourself is natural. 4D people simply love other people. without any effort. Without morals, we are much more